Crown the back-to-school champion parent with a Sagicor Bank unsecured loan.
The time by Sagicor Bank is
CVM News at 7 headlines Tuesday, courtesy of Heart NSTA Trust, Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, Decision 2025 countdown, less than 24 hours to go. Mixed reactions to proposed doubling of minimum wage. Father charged in double murder of children. In Tech Pulse, how democracy and defense are being impacted by tech and AI. And in sports, 2 athletes pull out of pre-World Championship camp.
CVM News at 7 headlines Tuesday, courtesy of Heart NSTA Trust, Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7. It's Tuesday, September 2, 2025. I'm Nika Lewis. Thank you so much for joining us. In a recent interview, the aspiring MP candidate for Trelawny Southern, Paul Patmore, told the media that he is ready to take over from incumbent candidate Marissa Dalrymple Philibert in the upcoming general election. Meanwhile, the incumbent and former Speaker of the House warns that she is ready for battle.
This is not a political speech. I say it because you've always filled my cup. Send Marissa Dalrymple to run, because that is the only person him want to run against. I send a message to him tonight. Be careful what you pray for and you ask for, because I'm here and I'm ready.
With less than 24 hours before Jamaicans cast their ballots, the Electoral Office of Jamaica says it is ready. Director of Elections Glaspole Brown says logistics are finalized. Staff members have been fully trained and additional measures are in place to ensure an efficient and secure voting process. Zor Grant has the details.
Director of Elections Glaspole Brown says that as the country heads into Wednesday's election, all logistical arrangements are in place. He explained that preparations are now at an advanced stage.
Yeah, we are doing the final touch. Our preparation is fully advanced. We're doing the final touch to get everything in place for this afternoon so that we can execute the election tomorrow.
Brown further explained that to guarantee efficiency, the EOJ has ensured all staff are thoroughly trained, with additional personnel deployed where necessary. He is urging voters to exercise patience throughout the voting process.
We properly train our persons and put in additional persons in some of the critical locations. But again, we do advise and appeal to our electorate to be patient. Remember, the voting time is from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. That is 10 hours of voting. And therefore, we are asking persons to be patient, adhere to the instruction from our workers, and we seek to allow the process to move as smooth as possible.
He added that while the expectation is for a smooth incident-free day, additional security measures will be in place to address any eventualities.
I've been in dialogue with the High Command, not just at the High Command level, but also at the Divisional Command level, in terms of looking at potential critical spots, hotspots that is, and therefore we have had that discussion, and certainly we expect the JCF and the JDF and a group of persons that we have recruited to supplement that cohort of security persons to assist us in terms of maintaining the security on the day.
Zogrant reporting for CVM News.
Meanwhile, Chairman of Citizens Action for Free and Fair Elections, Grace Boston, says the organization will be actively monitoring the polls with the deployment of some 700 observers across the island. The majority of these will be stationed inside polling locations, but CAFE has also positioned teams to move around constituencies to get a broader view of the day's activities. Mrs. Boston explains that the observers are expected to compile an early assessment between 9 and 10:30 in the morning, which will form the basis of a preliminary report to be shared with the public at 11 o'clock.
CAFE is deploying approximately 700 observers, the majority of those being indoor observers. These are the people who will spend the entire day in a particular polling station or PD. The others will be rovers, moving around constituencies, especially in remote areas and places where we weren't able to have as many indoor observers as we would have liked. We attempted to cover those constituencies where the race is predicted to be tight. So we have more indoor observers in those constituencies and fewer in the ones that are, regarded as safe seats. We expect to have our observers make a preliminary report between 9 and 10:30. All indoor observers will submit their reports to the CAFE data center, and that will allow us to have a release ready for the press, a report ready for press release around 11.
On the eve of Decision 2025, we look back at the highlights of the season that have led the nation to this moment. Raymond Morrison takes us through some of the seminal moments and the voices that have shaped this election season.
Weeks of rallies, roadshows, and platform presentations all lead into this Decision Day. The parties running for government this season took their messages across the island, drawing crowds from near and far, and sparking lively debates in the streets and on the stage. We take a look at some of the most memorable moments throughout the season, from MPs testing their vocals and beyond.
Hold on to what you've got, 'cause you think of voting PNP. I beg you, don't vote that way.
The trumpet has sounded, my countrymen all, so awake from your slumber and answer the call. The torch has been lighted, the dawn is at hand.
Pretty Labour Party, vote for Labour Party. Me a vote for Labour Party, me I'm a charity.
But will it be Alapa, Golapa, will it be Military?
And of course, the manifesto launches brought jabs that few could overlook.
Why did it sound so much like what we're already doing? It couldn't just be that, you cut and paste. Now, I'm a big proponent of using artificial intelligence. And so, as I thought through it, I realized that this must have used AI. And so I asked ChatGPT I prompted ChatGPT to write an education plan for Jamaica. Did it in ChatGPT 5. And when the results came, which I have here, sounded just like the manifesto.
Rest, trust me. On this side, we can spell Jamaica. You are indeed up next.
Then, not to be outdone, the national debates brought drama of its own.
And I just wanted to just make it absolutely clear that I am indeed born here as a Jamaican. Here is my birth certificate, and it shows I was born at the University Hospital on July 19th, 1965, and it's right here.
Lies, lies, lies.
Oh, the data is there. The data shows the Jamaica Labour Party knows how to do it.
Tell the country, how will you finance it? Which programs will you cut? Where will the money come from?
And like with any other election, the trail saw emotions run high, promises tested, and ideas clashed. From rural parishes to urban streets, Jamaicans engaged with the issues, shared their views, and got ready for the big decision.
Why are you here?
One JLP. It's a work, like Andrew Wellness, it's a work.
From JLP in a power, construction, I'm a plumber. It's been good.
I'm not going to say blessed with PMP and Labour Right, but PMP more look out for the poorer class. Labour Right, look out for the richer class.
I'm not business, I get nothing from none of them, but I say, I want Mark Gold to get him time to show them what he made of. I'm not business, because Labour Right and the whole of them corrupt.
There will be peace and no war, no blood and fire, that's not who we are. We're children of the Most High, oh yeah, we will never give up the fight, oh yeah, there will be peace, you don't know, look at me.
And now, with campaigns closed and the noise behind us, the final word belongs to the people. Tomorrow, Jamaica decides. Raymond Morrison, CVM News.
I won't sing it to you, but we're up on a break. Stay with us.
We are more than politics. We are a people bound by pride, respect, and one love. As election day comes closer, remember, your voice matters, your vote matters, and so does your conduct. No violence, no intimidation, no tearing down of signs or each other's dignity. We can bring back the love for our neighbors, or communities, or Jamaica.
This message was brought to you by the Office of the Political Ombudsman.
Crunch your craving with the value menu from KFC. With combos starting at just $620. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Find out where you are to vote before Election Day. On Election Day, visit your polling station and listen to the instructions of the presiding officer. Remember to bring your new voter ID card. You may still vote without your ID card, but the process will be faster if you have it with you. Mark your ballot behind the voting booth and return your ballot folded. Once the counterfoil is removed, your ballot cannot be traced back to you. Dip your finger in the ink and watch as your ballot is deposited into the ballot box.
Your vote is your voice. Make it count.
Join us this week on Tourism One-on-One as we examine how the tourism sector has been performing in the post-pandemic environment with Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Edmund Bartlett.
so much for staying with us. We continue the business of politics. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness promised at the weekend that the national minimum wage would gradually double if his administration is victorious in the upcoming elections. This decision has been the catalyst for discussion lately, as it has simultaneously been met with mixed reactions. Kevin Black sheds light on the matter.
We believe it is doable, and we are resting our case on the fact that we have done it in the past.
The proposed doubling of the minimum wage, as indicated by Prime Minister and JLP leader Dr. Andrew Holness, has been met with mixed reactions pervasively across the island. Businessmen, political figures, and even the common folk have been discussing the implications of such a move on the nation. People's National Party PNP campaign spokesman Cleveland Tomlinson is warning against what he says is the politicization of the national minimum wage. Speaking at PNP media briefing on Monday, Mr. Tomlinson said the proposal to double minimum wage is merely a ploy to secure public favor.
A promise. And I leave it at that. Just a promise from the Jamaica Labour Party to raise the minimum wage to $32,000. We believe that the minimum wage is something that should never be politicized, given the delicacies surrounding an adjustment of it.
On the other hand, President of the Jamaica Employers Federation, Wayne Chen, and President of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, Philip Ramson, shared opposing views on CVM's lead story on whether the move will hurt small businesses.
I got calls from a lot of our members this morning, in particular the MSMEs, who are concerned about it and didn't understand where it came from, because generally there's an advisory commission, and that advisory commission takes into account all the different factors of what the wages are now, what's happening in the business community, and people felt that was ignored, and that we need to express our concerns about it.
Perhaps I have a more cynical view. There is a minimum advisory commission. It's a tripartite commission with a representative chaired by the government, with a representative from the Employers Federation and a representative from the trade unions. But the fact is that the minimum wage has more than doubled in the last 5 years. It was $7,000 5 years ago. It went to $9,000, I believe, in 2022. 12,000, then 13,000, then 15,000, then 16,000. It has been a regular pattern of raising the minimum wage since 2022 till today.
And according to JLP Campaign Committee Chairman Dr. Christopher Tufton, while addressing attendees of their final press conference on Monday, he shared his party's mindset, which prompted the proposition of the aforementioned increase.
The point that is important to be made is that we have not advanced a proposal for doubling the minimum wage in isolation of the overarching government policy to advance variables towards improving productivity. And the fact that it is being phased is also, or should also be, comfort to those who may have some concerns.
Kevin Black reporting for CVM News.
Meanwhile, the Minimum Wage Commission has said it's throwing its full support behind the government's decision to increase Jamaica's national minimum wage. The announcement comes following Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness's recent declaration of a wage hike, which will see it doubling from the current rate of $16,000 to $32,000. Speaking at a meeting with the Commission, Minister of Labour and Social Security Pernell Charles Jr. revealed that the government is exploring legislative reforms that would enshrine a livable wage into law.
The measured increase represents another step in the strengthening of a productivity and performance-based system, which is a step that the Commission noted as instrumental in strengthening Jamaica's social and financial security, particularly for our workers. I outlined to the Commission the government's commitment to exploring legislative reform, further to Cabinet approval, of course, that would codify the principle of a livable wage in law.
And as Jamaicans gear up to decide which party will form government for the next 5 years, The Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Holness, believes the JLP has done enough to warrant a third straight term. But will he step down if the PNP wins?
If you lose the election come Wednesday, will you be stepping down as party leader?
Well, you know, listen, I've said, when you're in this business, you prepare to win and you prepare to lose. It's the nature of politics. But I always go into every endeavor with a very positive outlook on life. That has always been me. I'm a positive thinker. And all the science, all the research that we have done, but more importantly, all the work that we have done points to a victory for the Jamaica Labour Party. And that is, in my mind, without question.
Developing story, a 23-year-old laborer, Alan Saunders of Swamp District, Monique St. Anne, has been charged with 2 counts of murder in connection with the killing of 2 boys, one of them his biological son. 1-year-old Amir Saunders and his 3-year-old brother, Shamir Henry, were found buried 30 meters behind their home with stab wounds last Wednesday. The incident, which happened the day before on Tuesday, August 26, around 8 p.m., shocked the quiet community in Monique. Police say Saunders was questioned in the presence of his attorney before charges were laid last night. A court date is now being finalized. Investigations are ongoing. We'll have more after these. Stay with us.
Time to switch to the T-Tag on Trans-Jam highways. Vehicles using the automated T-Tag lane are processed in seconds, so you can pass through the toll plazas far quicker. The T-Tag makes it quicker, more cost-efficient, and safer for our customers. So switch to the T-Tag today and experience the convenience. T-Tag packages are discounted by 50% down to $1,250, including a $500 toll credit from now until September 5th.
Jamaica, we are more than politics. We are a people bound by pride, respect, and one love. As election day comes closer, remember, your voice matters, your vote matters, and so does your conduct. No violence, no intimidation, no tearing down of signs or each other's dignity. We can bring back the love for our neighbors, or communities, or Jamaica.
This message was brought to you by the Office of the Political Ombudsman.
Own your rhythm, feel secure, and move through life with Abina Super Absorbent Disposable Underwear, designed with urinary challenges in mind, providing maximum protection, comfort, and control, because nobody needs to know but you. Abina Super Absorbent Disposable Underwear, available at Independent Living, free samples in store, delivery island-wide. Rising above physical challenges, we can help you do it.
Glad you stayed. As Jamaicans prepare to head to the polls in just a few hours, our regional neighbor Guyana is wrapping up a fiercely contested general election of its own. Voters who went to the polls yesterday are still awaiting the final count of votes. Amoy Harriet has been tracking that story.
It was an unusually slow start to what was being anticipated as the most monumental day in Guyana's recent history. Voting at some 2,800 polling stations began at 6 a.m. Monday and closed at 6 p.m. Now, political loyalties in Guyana have long been split largely along ethnic lines between Indo-Guyanese and Afro-Guyanese communities. Guyana's Electoral Commission printed ballots for 6 parties, but most believe the election is a contest protest among the governing Indo-dominated People's Progressive Party, PPP, the Afro-dominated Partnership for National Unity, APNU, and a newcomer mixed-race party, We Invest in Nationhood, WIN party. WIN is led by Guyanese businessman Azraddin Mohammed, who was sanctioned by the U.S. last year over allegations that he and his father defrauded the Guyanese government of tax revenue and bribed public officials. They deny any wrongdoing. PPP, in the meantime, is led by current President Irfan Ali, who's seeking a second term in office. Now, notably, there's a 2-term limit for presidents. Reporter at Newsroom Guyana, Akeem Green, told CVM News earlier today that the stakes have never been higher as anticipation builds across the nation for the official announcement.
And this is just my assumption based on the trajectory that probably tonight or late in the evening, you could probably get a declaration of some preliminary results by GCOM. That is my assumption at this point in time, based on how they're inputting those statements of poll into that live tabulation that they have ongoing.
Now, election day activities weren't without a few hiccups. This was head of the OAS Electoral Observation Mission, Bruce Golding, in an interview with Newsroom Guyana.
There's one little discrepancy that we saw. I'm not sure if I should call it a discrepancy. In some polling stations where we visited, the polling compartment, the screen, was fixed in such a way that it faced the wall, so that you couldn't see from outside how a voter voted. In some of the polling stations, we noticed that it was the opposite, where it was turned around. And when I inquired why that was so, I gather it was in relation to this effort to prevent voters from photographing their ballot. What I think would have posed a problem, and I didn't actually see a person with disability in that situation, but at some of the locations that we went, where polling stations were on the upper floor, persons who were physically unable to climb stairs would have had to be lifted up.
Those issues paled in comparison to the security scare that unfolded in the tense hours before voting began. Now, Guyana and Venezuela have been locked in a decades-long border dispute. CVM News understands that Venezuelan aligned forces allegedly opened fire on Guyanese election workers as they transported ballot boxes into Region 7 on the eve of the election.
Since that would have happened, and I must know that nothing happened to anyone. The reports that we got back is that no one was hurt or anything of the sort, and that the GDF and the police would have returned fire and they maneuvered safely, and and none of the ballot boxes or anything of the sort was damaged. But that did not happen on E-Day.
All eyes are now on the outcome of what many believe is Guyana's most consequential election in decades, given that the winning party will oversee $10 billion in annual revenue from offshore oil and gas production.
That is where a lot of attention lies. How is it Guyana is going to grow and continue to develop? Whether it's going to be based solely on oil. Some political parties would have campaigned the fact that oil isn't it all, that it needs to be a diverse economy. Some would have looked to say that they're going to use the oil well to directly enhance lives of persons. So I guess that is what many persons are really pondering about. How are they going to benefit, whether directly or indirectly, from Guyana's newfound oil wealth?
Now, the outcome is also being closely watched here in Jamaica, given both countries' roles as key voices within CARICOM. I'm Moihara reporting for CVM News.
Jordan Fort now joins us with what's to come in sports.
Well, Nika, I know it's election season, and of course, we're speaking about the Guyanese elections, but of course, Jamaica's general elections coming up tomorrow. But it's also World Championships season. The World Championships runs from September 13 to 21 in Tokyo, Japan. And a bit of news from the Jamaican pre-World Championship camp. A couple of athletes pulling out of the camp. I'll tell you more about that. Plus, of course, the Caribbean Premier League CPL is going on. They've called it the biggest party in sport for some time, and I'll give you the results of that. I know a lot of Jamaicans are keyed in on what happens in the CPL.
All right. I am. Certainly I am. With that, do stay with us. Lots more to come on the other side of this break.
Crunch your craving with the value menu from KFC. With combos starting at just $620. KFC, it's finger-licking good. Crunch your craving with the value menu from KFC. With combos starting at just $620. The time by KFC is
7:30.
Do it for your best life. Go check your HIV status. So keep your life trending, no pretending. Me I tell yourself do it for you, do it for you. Every time you are link with a condom, coulda Ozzy, coulda wife, coulda be a random. Condom connect and protect your profile. Be your own fan. Do it for your best life. Do it for your best life. Don't put yourself at risk. Condom connect every time. Do it for your best life.
This is your reminder on how to mark your ballot. Easy and confidential. When you receive your ballot, take a moment to read it carefully. Mark your ballot clearly with an X beside the symbol of the candidate of your choice. Use only the pencil provided. Make sure it is visible. Once you're done, fold the ballot as instructed and return it to the presiding officer. Your vote is your voice. Make your mark, make it count.
Thanks so much for staying with us. Now, with the protection of children's rights often tested during this time of the year, some of which have drawn widespread discussion and even outcry, we hear more from Curlin Brown.
Our government has been absolutely clear that no child should be deprived of their right to education because of a hairstyle.
Is hairstyle or fashion versus dreadlocks and religion, specifically with Rastafarians, still an issue, especially now at the start of this new school year? A 2020 legal battle involving a student with dreadlocks at a St. Catherine Primary School is a point of reference. The appeal court ruled the school had breached the constitutional right of the student to freedom of expression and the right equitable treatment by a public authority when the child was denied access in 2018. But prejudice against Afro-textured hair is still an ongoing sore point in Jamaica. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says his administration is firmly against it.
What we have insisted upon is proper grooming. And not to deprive a child by virtue of how they choose to wear their hair. So certainly if there are concerns about the school rules about grooming and personal hygiene and so forth, those are standard things which are established in the school rules. But if you go outside of that, then in my opinion, it amounts to a kind of discrimination. So we will stand by what the courts have ruled.
Meanwhile, with more and more children being diagnosed with learning disabilities, the Prime Minister says schools and parents have been seeking help. However, as willing as some schools are, they lack the necessary resources. He says if the JLP forms the next government, more will be done to better serve students with special needs.
So the first step that we have to do is to increase the number of diagnostic centers that we have. We have 2. We really need to have 1 in every parent. We're committing to do 1 in every educational region. I believe there are 7 regions now.
Ahead of Decision 2025, CVM News also asked more about support systems for other vulnerable children.
So the first step that we have to do is to increase the number of diagnostic centers that we have. We have 2. We really need to have 1 in every parent. We're committing to do 1 in every educational region. I believe there are 7 regions now.
Curlin Brown, CVM News.
And now regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. The Guyana Elections Commission GCOM has strongly condemned the circulation of a fake statement of poll SOP by the We Invest in Nationhood Win political party, led by US-sanctioned businessman Azruddin Mohammed, describing it as a deliberate attempt to mislead the electorate and create a false impression of victory for a political party. Newsroom Guyana provides that update.
GCOM rejects the publication of fake statement of poll. The Guyana Elections Commission has noted the publication of a fake statement of poll at 1 minute past the scheduled close of poll. GCOM wishes to make it abundantly clear that it is impossible for the counting of the ballots at any polling station to have commenced. This despicable act can only be seen as creating a platform on which the political party associated with Team Mohammed's Facebook page can create the impression that it has been successful at the polls.
A leaked security video from Parliament is at the centre of a political storm in St. Lucia, raising new questions about an assault allegation against Tourism Minister Dr. Ernest Hilaire. We hear more from DBS Television.
A brief clip of security camera footage from the House of Parliament has been released, stirring controversy and debate online about an assault claim made by member of the press Eldridge Charles. The situation began on Tuesday, 19th August, when Charles stated on a social media live that Tourism Minister Dr. Ernest Hilaire pushed her. 2 days later, it was revealed that Charles filed a complaint of criminal assault. Dr. Hilaire firmly denied the claims. The Speaker of the House, Claudius Francis, stated that he was cooperating with the police on the matter.
My cooperation is premised on a number of things. That when the police review the footage and find nothing, that Ms. Charles will be charged for wasting police time and making a false accusation.
The video was released by social and political commentator Minerva Ward during a Facebook Live show. In a subsequent Monday interview with DBS News World, Ward expressed her concerns about what she believes is a systemic protection of powerful men in government, which she says prevents women from receiving justice.
And in international news, Russia's Putin and North Korea's Kim have descended on Beijing to attend a massive military parade alongside Chinese President Xi Jinping. The meeting marks the trio's first appearance together in public. We turn to Reuters.
A show of solidarity by three countries shunned by the West over their roles in the Ukraine war. China's President Xi Jinping gathered his Russian and North Korean counterparts in Beijing for the first time on Tuesday. Russian President Vladimir Putin was hosted in the Great Hall of the People for a bilateral where he called the Chinese leader his dear friend. The pair then met at Xi's personal residence over tea. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's armoured train was spotted arriving in the Chinese capital before his motorcade rolled through the streets. The three are set to appear together at a massive military parade on Wednesday, where the Chinese president will flaunt his vision for a new global order as US President Donald Trump's America First policies strain Western alliances. For Kim, the parade will mark the largest multilateral diplomatic event he has attended. It offers the reclusive leader an opportunity to gain support for his banned nuclear weapons and expand his diplomatic circle.
And that's it for regional and international news.
Stay with us for sports with Jordan Fort after the break.